Tim. Ron, I just deload someone. Hey, Tim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I got to make two comments here. I don't normally like to chime in on this kind of stuff. I like the positive, upbeat stuff. I will agree with part of what Gloria says. Everybody has the right to do what they want within the law. Okay, first of all, point being said. And the guy that called before Gloria, the fact of him saying, we tell our children what to back, I find that to be just an absolutely horrendous statement to make, because that in itself is so bigoted, it's just disgusting.
All right, is it a bigoted? Hold on a second. Let me. Is it a bigoted statement, or is it a statement that is based in reality? In other words, look at this situation: a black kid goes walking in an ostensibly white neighborhood, and he winds up shot and killed. And so, if a parent loves their kid, are they not to warn them about situations like this? A black parent say, hey, if you're going to go walking at nighttime in a white neighborhood by yourself in a hoodie, I don't want you to be doing that, because I just understand the reality of the world, and I'd like you to make it to be an adult. I mean, is it bigoted or is it parenting?
I think it's based in bigotry. It might be parenting, but it's based in bigotry, and it's a perception that's necessarily not true.
Yeah, but when you're trying to look out for
I'm sure it's probably true in areas, but it's not true everywhere.
You see,
and I just find that apprehensible that a parent would say that. I mean,
all right, hold on a second. Let's look at this, and this is part of the reason that this entire case, and it kind of has reverberations here in the region where there's so many different. We're so diverse. You don't realize how diverse we are till you go to areas.
Oh, we're totally diverse. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So, all right. You got any kids?
Yes.
All right, and you're a white guy, right?
Yes.
Do we ever tell your kids not to walk in certain parts of Gary?
Well, I wouldn't let my kids go walk at 5th and Washington at midnight.
And that's mostly black people there. So are you being bigoted or are you being a parent?
I don't tell them that daily. That guy said they tell their children daily. I don't tell my kids that daily. I tell them once.
Okay, so it's the frequency. You see, it's the frequency that you're saying is bigoted. In other words,
right? And the frequency, what the frequency says is, and I don't only say this the way I got it, the way I see it, is they're saying, watch out, these white people are bad. They're going to shoot you if you're in their neighborhood.
Okay, and
that's what that says to me.
But you're not.
I don't tell my children on a daily basis, don't go walking through Gary. First of all, I live in Gary, but I don't tell my children don't go walking through downtown Gary. I don't tell them that on a daily basis. I don't warn them about how horrible people of color or or the Hispanic or anything else is. I don't warn them every day about other races. My children have never been brought up with bigotry. My children have been brought up that everybody's equal, everybody's the same, everybody deserves to be treated equally. And, quite frankly, there was a caller about a half hour ago who said that, who was alluding to the fact that if George Zimmerman gets off, Miami's going to be burned. And if George Zimmerman gets convicted, Miami's not going to be burned. That's what he alluded to, and he just didn't want to say it in those terms. And that's where it comes with, a jury of his peers is going to judge this man according to the evidence that they've seen and the evidence they've heard. The evidence I've heard, I don't agree at all with what this guy did. But I also know that in a court and in a court of law, I don't think from what I've seen that the prosecution gave enough evidence within a reasonable doubt that this guy flat out targeted this kid to murder him.
Okay, all right. Hold on a second, Tim. Slow down. First of all, I got to move on. I got some people here. But you're starting to talk about the case itself. And the case itself, I do definitely want to break that down. But the implications here is something that we do need to look at, because if George Zimmerman gets off scot-free, what's going to happen immediately in the next couple of days?
I think we need to look at that. And if he gets convicted, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen if he gets convicted.
Well, we'll see. You never know.
Of the law.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Last phone call before. Speaking of white guys with a gun, let's talk to Conservation Mike. Conservation Mike, how are you, buddy?
Good. How are you, Jeff?
Good. What's up?
After listening to everyone this morning on the whole Martin Zimmerman thing, it dawns on me. It's pretty understood that they had a physical fight, right? The two of them.
Yeah.
Well, someone who's carrying a gun will not start a fight. It's just unheard of because they don't have to. So it really seems to me to explain the whole self-defense thing, because there's no way that someone who is carrying a gun started a fight with anybody. Bigger, smaller, fatter, taller, doesn't matter. That just doesn't happen because they don't have to.
What about the one guy's comments? I think it was Joe, a black man, called in and said, "It's if Trayvon Martin not Trayvon Martin. If George Zimmerman gets off scot-free for killing Trayvon Martin, it's going to be a message that it's open season on young black males walking through white neighborhoods."
I think that's ridiculous. I think that's a terrible thing to think, and I think it's a terrible thing to say, and I don't think that's the way the world works anyway.
There's so many issues to this case, and one that really hasn't been talked about as much is the gun issue.
What's the gun issue?
Well, I mean, the guy had a gun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what if he didn't have a gun? He might be dead, right? And that would be your retort to that.
Well, he might not have been the neighborhood watch. They don't have neighborhood watches for no reason. I mean, look at the ones around here. We don't have them in places where they don't need them, or where the residents there don't think that we need them.
What do you think happens if George Zimmerman gets off scot-free here?
I really don't know, Jim. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people out there that might want there to be trouble.
What do you mean by that?
It's too bad.
What do you mean by that?
If it bleeds, it leads, and I think that some of the people in the media are bringing it up to provoke it, and I think some of the leadership's reactions to it right away was foolish because they didn't understand all the facts in the case. I mean, if you're going to make a big deal about somebody getting shot, the little baby in Chicago was one to make a big deal out of. But we still haven't heard. I think we heard that they caught the guy, but we haven't heard anything more about it. Chalk one up on the statistics again. But this one they decided to make a big deal. Even the president decided to make a deal out of it. And, it's a terrible thing, but it happened, and it happened for a reason, and they're trying to figure out the reason here in court.
All right, man. All right. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you.
Thanks.
219-845-11.